Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the 8th annual myRobot Rumble SUMObot Challenge here on Shaw TV. More than 120 high school teams have filled the gym here at Sask Polytechnic for their annual myRobot Rumble SUMObot Challenge. It's an event that happens every year for the past 8 years to be exact, all with the purpose of showing students how fun electronics can be. But before we size up the competition, here's a look at what else is coming up. We stopped by a new cafe in Saskatoon focused on giving back to nonprofits in our community. And this student competitor tells us how much time went into building his robot.
We're there to bring it home. Shaw TV, your local voice.
2 robots, 1 battle with only 1 winner walking out of that ring. We are at Sask Polytechnic's myRobot Rumble SUMObot Challenge, and in just a few minutes we'll learn more about this event. But first, let's take a look at an upcoming event to our city. Simon Hyde brings us a preview of this year's Saskatoon Prayer Breakfast and the special guests that are taking part.
Father, we don't want to take for granted that we're able to freely gather this morning.
Coming up this Saturday, April 23rd, right here at Prairieland Park, one of Saskatoon's longest standing traditions. It's the Saskatoon Prayer Breakfast. Happy to be joined by the chair of the breakfast, Jerry Getter. This really is an institution in our city, Jerry. This is something that I know a large portion of our community looks forward to each and every year.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well. I guess this is around 35 years that this tradition has been happening. I guess in Saskatoon it's important. We just came through a provincial election, and you know, when we elect a lot of members of the legislature. We also elect a mayor, city councillors, we elect school board trustees, federal MPs, and that type of thing. And these people are given the responsibility of making a lot of decisions on our behalf, and they need a lot of support and encouragement as they go through a difficult process a lot of times. So as citizens of the community of Saskatoon, we just want to bring together the Christian community, and we want to offer some prayer for all of these leaders that are elected by us.
And as is the case each and every year, you have another outstanding slate of guests coming in to speak as well. Let's talk a little bit first of all about Brian Stiller, what he's going to be bringing to the event.
Well, Dr. Brian Stiller is a Saskatchewan guy. He's born in Nacum, Saskatchewan. He's coming home to be with us. He's responsible for the World Evangelical Alliance, which is roughly 600 million evangelical Christians in the world. He's got a close connection with a lot of other Christian leaders, like the Pope, the current Pope.
Good guy to know.
He's a good guy to know, that's right. Anyway, Brian's going to share a lot of what's going on in the world, and how can we pray for leaders in the world is going to be the theme of his discussion this year.
Perfect. And also another group of special guests, Worship Community. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, that's a group of young people with a lot of energy and who are excellent musicians and basically offer a lot of good worship time. So their band is going to be here in Saskatoon. They're going to be debuting some numbers from an album that's coming up in the near future.
If folks want to get some tickets to the event, what's the best way to do so, Jerry?
Well, there's a few ways. We can go directly online to saskatoonprayerbreakfast.ca, and Universal shirt supplies, as well as Kennedy's Parables bookstore. Tickets are available at both of those locations as well.
Excellent. And it just so happens we have 4 tickets to give away for the Saskatoon Prayer Breakfast. If you'd like to enter our draw for those tickets, please send us an email at shawtv10@shaw.ca and we'll get you entered into that draw. Jerry, thanks so much for chatting with us. Looking forward to another great prayer breakfast here in Saskatoon. And of course, if you aren't able to attend the breakfast, we will be airing it on Shaw TV. Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Simon.
More than 53 schools from across Saskatchewan are here at Sask Polytechnic for their 8th annual myRobot Rumble SUMObot Challenge. Joining me right now is Anthony. He is an instructor, an electronics instructor here at Sask Polytechnic. Anthony, what is the purpose of today's event?
Well, really what we're trying to do is introduce technology to the young people in Saskatchewan, and hopefully maybe they find that this is something interesting for them, come to our program, and then maybe end up with a job in technology someday. Every year we have this competition for 120 teams, and we'll buy a number of robots for the schools, and whatever schools are new and interested, we'll ship those out to them. And the schools that have been here for a while, they kind of have a really good idea of what it takes to go and build a robot and that sort of thing. So a lot of them will actually make their own custom designs, so that's really cool. But yeah, we support them by both answering technical questions as well as shipping out new kits to schools that are new in the program. So.
Fantastic. So what type of feedback have you had from teachers of these students and the students themselves about this program?
Oh, it's been absolutely fantastic from everybody. The chaperones, the teachers, the parents, the counselors that come, they think it's such a wonderful thing because it's something other than, let's just say, you know, there's a lot of opportunities for sports, but this is something other that the kids can do and get their minds into, focus some time on. And from the students, you look around while you're at a competition like this, and once you put competition on the line, they kind of get up to that next level, right? And they're smiling and having a blast and cheering, and it's been really fantastic for us to see. So it's fun for us to be able to give back a little bit, you know, to the community for all the technology stuff that we do, and we want to share it with people. So.
Exactly. Obviously, being an electronics instructor, you must have a passion for this field. But what I like about building robots, or what I've learned from today, is that it actually helps students with more than just electronics. There's physics involved, there's engineering. What other skills are involved with building a robot?
Well, there's actually quite a bit of mechanics that have to go into it, right? Because again, like you said, physics, the robots have to meet a certain weight, and they have to meet a certain size, and they can't leave any sort of residue on the ring. So they got to think about all these things while they're putting their stuff together. And then as well, they have to write a program, because the robots are all autonomous. They don't have remote controls. They put them in the ring and they go by themselves, right? So it's pretty neat that way.
It is a really neat, unique event. I've really enjoyed my time here today. Once students bring their robots here, what is the next step?
They will have a ring. It's basically traditional sumo wrestling format. So they put the robots in the ring, it's kind of side by side, press a button, 5 seconds later they start, and they try and push each other out of the ring. And basically the last robot standing in the ring wins. The winners of this competition will get scholarship credits towards some of the programs at Sask Polytech. So.
Fantastic. What do you hope for the future of this program, and more specifically the future of the students that take part in this program?
I just really hope that they see that, you know, technology and electronics and computers and all that is actually a really fun thing, not a scary thing. Sometimes it's challenging, but that they kind of develop a passion for it and kind of chase that as they get a little bit older, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, Anthony, thank you so much. We'll let you get back to it. There's lots of action taking place on today's show, so stay tuned.
Creating local TV that matters to your community. Shaw TV, your local voice.
Coming up on Go, a Disney classic hits the stage at Persephone as they wrap up their season. And with more than 200 students at this year's myRobot Rumble, we meet a team from Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Students from across Saskatchewan have been working hard on building their robots, and now it's time to battle it out. In just a few minutes, we will meet our first student participant, and he will tell us how much work goes into these robots. But from building robots to building a community, Saskatoon's first Conscious Cafe is now open. So we stopped by to find out how and why this new business is focused on doing good deeds.
The idea behind Conscious Cafe was we are conscious in so many different ways. Good food, less harm to animals, giving back to society, charity, and then good ambience. You can come for lunch, supper, dessert night.
As vegetarians, Vivek Patari and Roshni Jain say their options are often limited when it comes to finding quality restaurants. With a love for creating specialty dishes, the husband and wife team opened Saskatoon's new The Karma Conscious Cafe and Eatery.
It is super exciting. It's like a dream come true because, as you know, I'm a chef, and yeah, it was always a dream to open up a restaurant. It's a vegetarian, vegan, egg-free cafe. So lots of options, lots of fusion flavors.
As strong as their belief is in the foods they eat, so too is their belief in the principle of karma.
One of the biggest things that we want to do is we want to give back to charities in Saskatoon. We'll be giving out 3% of our net sales every time to a certain charity. Our first charity is Food Bank, yes. Every 3 months it's going to change. And again, that's our customers who are going to decide who our next charity going to be. They can come and vote for them, and whichever wins is going to be our next charity.
With the Karma stores officially opening on April 15th, it was a celebration for the new business and their first charity of choice, a nonprofit organization that shares in the idea of paying it forward.
I think I probably wouldn't work in community if I didn't feel so connected to it. So for me, what you put out there is what comes back to you.
According to O'Connor, the food bank is helping close to 4,000 more people each month compared to previous years.
We're seeing numbers increasing every month. We're up over 20,000 people each month now. That's definitely putting a huge strain on our resources. And to have newcomers to this city say, hey, we like what you do and we want to support you, it just is an incredible feeling.
While giving back is a value both Patari and Jane grew up learning, the food bank was chosen as their first charity for a very special reason.
I came here as a student and I was in Toronto, and then my first week I got my food from Food Bank. So it always ever since stayed in my heart that I owe something back to Food Bank. So I guess this was a perfect opportunity.
When you find a place that has a story behind it, that's when you start to really develop a relationship with that place, and maybe you'll come back and you'll think of how you can start contributing to that community.
Knowing that a company or a little coffee shop like this is like putting that much care into what they're doing and what you're going to eat and put in your body, and the food's really good, so like it's a win-win.
Aside from serving up delicious dietary dishes, Patari and Jane hope by promoting different local nonprofits, a conversation develops and smaller organizations receive the recognition they deserve.
Next 6 months or a year, we really want to expand, and not just expand like a business, but expand more in terms of getting involved in charity and community, and that's the idea. So let's join hands and do it together.
The Karma Conscious Cafe and Eatery can be found on social media or drop by their location on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 23rd Street downtown. The intensity in this gym is just amazing. Of course, we are hanging out at the 8th annual myRobot Rumble SUMObot Challenge. Joining me right now off of a win is Riyad. Riyad, you are a grade 12 student with Mount Royal Collegiate. You've just won one of your battles. How does it feel?
Well, it feels great. We had some trouble with our sensors, but ended up winning on the 3rd round, so it's awesome. It's an amazing feeling.
All right, so your robot looks quite complex. Of course, I don't know much about electronics, but how much work actually goes into these robots?
We work on it all semester, all first half of the semester. So we worked on it for about, I would say, 50 to 60 hours in class time, and then we put in some extra time after school at lunch as well, just so we can get the robot done in time.
Wow, a lot of work. Why is this something you wanted to take part in?
Making robots, when we first started building the robot, that first movement it did, it felt amazing to see that robot move on at the first time. So it's amazing. It's something I always wanted to do, work with robots, get put the codes in so it moves. It's an amazing feeling. That's just the feeling it gives me.
We saw you working on your robot, kind of a crunch time right before you hit the ring. Do things like that happen? Do problems happen? How stressful is that?
Right, when I started my first round, the iris sensor came out, so it was too bad that I lost the first round, but then so I fixed it on the second round and won that round and the third round as well, so that happens, so you just gotta get through it.
And why do you think an event like this is really cool to have in our community?
Well, it gets people together, you make new friends, and of course you learn about new technology.
So what are you hoping for your future with electronics or even post-secondary school since you are in grade 12?
This is something I do for fun, so I'm most likely not gonna go into robot and something like that, but I am planning on going to the University of Saskatchewan for computer engineering. So that's related to this in a way, yeah.
Yeah, lots of different fields are related to building robots. You wouldn't really imagine that physics and electronics and, like you mentioned, computer engineering in general really goes into these little tiny robots.
Right, yeah.
That's very cool. All right, Riyad, I know you have a third round coming up. What are your hopes for that?
Just get the sensors working again and hopefully get another win.
All right, well, a big congratulations. We wish you the best for the rest of the competition, and we'll be right back after the break.
Creating local TV that matters to your community. Shaw TV, your local voice.
We are ready to rumble. Well, the robots are anyway. Throughout today's show, we've seen some pretty impressive student-built robots. It's all a part of Sask Polytechnic's 8th annual myRobot SUMObot challenge. And in just a few minutes, we will meet a team competing. But first, let's find out how Persephone Theatre is wrapping up their season with a classic, of course. Simon Hyatt brings us a preview of Mary Poppins, a production filled with familiar elements and some surprises, too.
There is a magic associated with this character, unlike almost any other in film or theater. For Kaylin Stadnick, who will be bringing Mary Poppins to life at Persephone, that sensation began before she ever stepped on stage.
The first time that I had my first fitting, Corey, our designer, put me in the costume, and when I turned around, he wouldn't let me look in the mirror, and then when I turned around and looked at it, I actually burst into tears and just went, oh my God, I'm Mary Poppins.
And it's one she has now witnessed several times from the stage, since first taking on the role in Kamloops last December.
And there was a little girl totally forward on her seat, all wide-eyed, and then right next to her was what I think was her grandpa, and he had his hands up like this and his eyes just wide and mouth open, and it actually kind of hit me, and I thought, oh my, that's what this show is for people.
But of course, that kind of adoration of a classic character and story comes with a certain amount of pressure to get it right.
You don't want to mess it up. You don't want to mess it up. I think what's really great is that they've really created a wonderful world. And I think anyone who comes to the show, I mean, no matter what age you are, you'll be able to sit in that audience and when the lights go down in the dark and just sort of believe in the magic of it all.
While the magic of the film is a big part of this show, there are some big differences between the two. Author P.L. Travers notoriously hated the Disney adaptation of her work. This version hews more closely to her original vision.
Mary is written a lot more honestly, and I think the journey, especially between the parents and the children, it's really touching. It's a beautiful story, and so we actually get to put on a really great play as well.
And Stadnick says while comparisons to the film are inevitable, she doesn't get caught up in worrying about living up to Julie Andrews' Academy Award-winning performance, instead focusing on bringing her own take on Mary to the stage. Plus, Andrews had the advantage of being able to take a break between numbers, a luxury not available to Stadnick in this demanding stage show.
I lovingly call this Mary the Beast Poppins. There's a very specific way I stand, a very specific way I talk, a very specific way I move. So I'm thinking of all of those things, plus the lines, plus the blocking, plus all of the magic and the technical aspects of creating what we're doing on stage.
Mary Poppins runs through May 22nd at Persephone Theatre. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Simon Hyatt.
It's where you live. Shaw TV, your local voice.
We have been meeting students from across Saskatchewan taking part in this year's Robot Rumble SUMObot Challenge. Joining me right now are students Noah and Nick. They are from Weyburn. Noah, let's start with you. Why is this an event or a program that you wanted to get involved in?
Computers are basically the only thing I'm really good at, especially with creativity, so I thought I would try this and see how well it would go.
That's a really good point. How creative and how much work actually goes into your robots that you build?
It depends. It can take hours or minutes, and it can break in minutes too, and it can take hours to fix. So it takes quite a bit of creativity.
Very, very cool. And Nick, let's talk to you a little bit. How much work went into your robot?
At least a couple hours, like 4 or 5. We worked on it at school last period every day, and sometimes at lunch.
And of course, we are here at the myRobot Rumble SUMObot Challenge. Why is this a good event in your opinion?
Because we get a chance to see how our code compares to the other people that have coded, and it's rewarding if you're doing well.
Why is this a field or a project that interests you?
Because I've always been interested in computers, and like Noah said, I'm pretty good at them. So it's really interesting and fun to do.
Absolutely. All right. You guys have battled today already?
Yeah.
All right. How did you do in your first battle, and what are your hopes for the future?
Our first battle we won by default. The other team wasn't there, and we're hoping to rise near the top, hopefully place somewhere within top 10, if possible.
Fantastic. Say someone's thinking about building a robot. What type of advice would you have for those out there?
Patience. Lots and lots of patience. Because things aren't going to work, and you're going to need the patience to figure out why.
It might be a little frustrating at times, eh?
Yeah.
All right. What are your hopes for your future with, you mentioned you love computers.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go into computer science and get a bachelor in that, and then see where I can go from there job-wise.
And it is always cool, like I've been saying, guys, I've been meeting students from across Saskatchewan today, but seeing an event like this where students are so passionate about the robots that they make, do you find it really helps people decide what they want to do after high school?
I think if you're unsure about where you're going after school, you could definitely take a liking to this type of thing, and then you could go on further with it, because there's a lot of opportunities in computers. Lots
of opportunities. What are your hopes for your future?
I'm actually going to U of S for medicine, but robots are just a hobby.
Robots are just awesome. That's the basis of it. All right, guys, I know your third round or second round is about to start, so we'll let you go. Thank you so much for chit-chatting with me, and we'll be right back after the break.
Creating local TV that matters to your community. Shaw TV, your local voice.
With more than 120 student-built robots battling it out, Sask Polytechnic's 8th annual myRobot Rumble SUMObot Challenge is another great success. The preliminary matches are wrapping up, so it's time to say goodbye. If you want to learn more information about this program, make sure you head to myrobotrumble.saskpolytech.ca. Thanks so much for joining us on today's Go on Shaw TV. Riyadh here has offered to let me play with this robot, so we'll see you next time.